Good morning, good evening, and good day. Thank you so much for watching Attack Power Gaming. Today, we're hopping into the 43rd Reserve Army, How to Play. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It's free to you, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Let's dive right in. So here we are with the 43rd Reserve Army. If you watch my video where I talk about my favorite divisions, this is one of them. I'm not a huge Allied player, but when I do hop over to the Allied side, I actually really enjoy this division a lot. Some people don't. I think it's actually quite solid. The highlights of this are its infantry, armor, and air tabs. Its significant weaknesses are in its air, it is artillery, okay? Its AA tab and AT tab are also lacking as well, which I will admit is a considerable amount of lacking. That's 3 tabs that are not super great, in varying amounts of not super great. Does the increased strength in the infantry, armor, and air make up for it? I think so. You may not. So it's just something to be aware of. Let's hop up here into the Recon. Recon tab gives you 2 very viable options. You have the BA-10 and the T-34-76. If you feel like you need more T-34-76s, it's an option because you only get 1 card. So, like, you could take these in A and have 3 T-34s to work with, 76s to work with, if you really feel like you need them. But I think the BA-10 is just outstanding. It way overperforms. If you haven't seen my armor car, best armor cars in the game, for some reason, for 25 points, this thing is just disgusting. It's so good. I don't know why. I don't know what makes this unit so darn good, but it kills way more than it should. It's super accurate. It's got a 5 damage. It just use it. You're gonna use it and you're gonna be like, why is this thing so good? You're gonna learn to fear it. You're gonna see this thing driving around and you're gonna like run your tanks away. Infantry. This, for me personally, this is the highlight of the deck. Like, truly. You got the Strafniki. You get 3 cards of Strafniki, 2 of them being the like long range variant, and 1 of them being the very close range variant. And they're all called, they're Strafniki officers. Historically, these were like officers that like tried to desert or did whatever thing wrong to the Communist Party, and they threw them in these horrible, divisions that they, do whatever with. And these guys get fanatical in game, so they never surrender. They last forever because they're 20-man squads. They have 3 machine guns. They're probably the best Allied infantry squad, just in a straight up sense. They are 40 points, so you have to be careful. You don't get a lot. Like, I bring them in at 1. They come in at 1 star. I don't bring them in at 1 star. They come in at 1 star. You could go to 2, but you lose 1. And I know usually I would say that's worth it. But like, they're just so few. You get 12. You get 12. These are the ones that really matter, the long range ones. The close range ones, don't get me wrong, are disgustingly good too. It's 15 men with SMGs. I mean, this will melt stuff in the woods. But they don't have any Molotovs. They don't have anything else. They're just straight up SMGs. So these are not fantastic, but they are very good. Then you get Sapperies, lots of Sapperies. You get 4 cards technically. These are the line infantry of this deck. You use these as your line infantry, and they perform well in that role. They are your line infantry. You get a card of Sappery Rocks, and these guys are fantastic. They have 2 machine guns. They can function as line infantry if you have to. You don't want them there, but they can. But they also have this flame. The double machine gun makes them functionable at longer ranges. You get Tanko Desaniki, of course. Chernos for A phase. 10-man squads. You can just spam. You get 18 of them, which is so many. So you just spam these all over at the beginning of the game. They kind of hold, and I feel like they perform relatively well. They at least hold up your enemy for a long time. But if you really don't like those, you could call in Sappery, but the problem is you won't have many infantry. Your infantry tab is very low in numbers. I have a C card of Sappery for C. I'm vetting them once because 3 more squads isn't going to make a difference at that point. And you can see everything is veteraned. It's got some veterancy. Why? Because I need to win. 76 infantry, but the truth is 18 of those are Chernos, and really 2 of them are worth 1 at the end of the day. So like, you really have like 67, if you're doing that kind of math. So it's not many, but you're Maverick, and I rarely get through the whole infantry tab in the first place. And in the game, you'll see that I don't even get close. I run out of Strafniki, but that's it. Tank tab. I like this tank tab a lot. You get 1 card of T-3476s, which is fine. It's functionable. You can get 12 in B, which is plenty. You get a KV-1S as a leader. I like these tanks. They're solid. They do pretty good work. 2 cards of T-3485s, one in the 43 variant and one in the 44 variant. I'm bringing the 43 variant, which has the APCR, but only 1750 meter range in A, and I'm bringing the better one, in my opinion, with the 2000 meter range, no APCR, in B. I really like T-3485s. I do. I'll admit it. Yeah, they may not be the most efficient bang for your buck, but I find they perform quite well. I'm also bringing in the leader card of the T-3485s because I wanted more T-3485s. And you could bring in IS-2s, but I'm never a fan of super heavy tanks. I tend to avoid them like the plague. I just don't think... They don't ever perform up to my expectations. I would prefer 2 T-3485s over one of these when it really comes down to it. Support tab, pretty solid. You can go with the SU-122 or the SU-152. I like the SU-122 because it actually has heat shells, and this does 7.6 damage. This one does 6.1. It's not a huge difference in damage for, you know, the HE power, so I think it's worth having the heat shells, which do 12 damage and will insta-kill something if they hit. If they penetrate, and they penetrate 160 millimeters, like, it's a good get-kill stuff. I mean, it's 15. It's a good AT weapon when you need it. So that's why I bring this instead of the SU-152. And the point difference is it hurts a little bit, but I get over it. Lots of MGs, because spamming these can actually be really helpful at times, and some supply. Here's one of the weaknesses of the deck is your AT tab. You do have SU-85s. I decided they fill a very similar role to the T-3485s, which is why I'm not bringing them in. I like light AT personally, so I like bringing in these M42s, because they also have HE, which makes them even like a little bit more versatile, and you can bring them in really fast. They can cut down roads at the beginning of the game. PTRS Rush, Heart, great. You should always do it. It's really obnoxious for the opponent, and it can give you a great start at the beginning of the game, especially playing Maverick. Bringing in your only like legitimate AT gun. There's this 3 here. These are great. I'd bring them in A, but the fact is I need at least a little bit of AT power later in the game. Not that these are incredible power, but they can kill all the Axis. They can kill all the medium tanks. So for 45 points, it gets the job done. I called this tab a weakness, the AA tab, because it's not, but it is. You only have heavy AA, which is good. I mean, these you'll see in the game I play, this stops the enemy air quite effectively. So it's not bad, but you don't get a ton of it, and there's no in-between. It's just heavy AA. So, you know, it can be tough on certain maps depending on where you can put your AA and things. But these are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. These are really good. They function great as AT weapons as well. You'll see them used as that a little bit too. They're very good AA. This is not a horrible weakness in the deck. It's just not a strength. Artillery tab is a weakness. All you get is 2 cards of mortars. They're bad. This is nothing. I have the 82 millimeter mortar, almost more of like a nod towards having something in the artillery tab. You could definitely not use this at all. I like having some more leaders though. I do want those. Air tab, very strong. There's a lot of options here. I'm using the IL-2KR at the beginning. I do like having some recon when possible, and this actually does function for attacking ground, especially if you can have 2 of them. They will kill like a PAC-40 or something pretty effectively. Yak-9B, really good. This will kill any support weapon that it can attack unmolested. The 4 bombs will kill any sort of, you know, AT gun or something. Very good. LA-7, awesome fighter. It's medium resiliency. It's very, very fast. It has 220 mils. It's a weak loadout, but it really does get the job done pretty well. Yes, I do like them. I have a second card in B. IL-4s, it's a good bomber. It underperformed a little bit for me. I would honestly think of switching over to this one actually with the 2 500 kilogram bombs, because I'm actually gonna do that right now because I was really unimpressed with this one. The spread is too big, and it doesn't kill things. It doesn't kill things reliably because of the large spread of its bombs. So if it has any suppression, it misses. So that's why I'm switching over to the 2 500 kilogram bombs instead. This one's probably it's a little slower. That was really the only reason I think I took this one because this was a teeny bit faster. I like to get them out of there. And then finally, the Yak-9B cluster bomber. It's a good cluster bomber, although I found it to not be extremely reliable. But it's definitely more reliable than these rocket AT planes for sure. Though these can be really good because they get in really fast. They don't have to fly over the target. So like if the opponent has some AA, this can get in and out pretty quick. And it's got very good resilience. I mean, this is a good AT plane. I just don't think it's better than the Ac-9B, but that's definitely arguable. The other options are this rocket plane. This might be good. I don't know. It's a 305 millimeter HE rocket. I mean, that's pretty big, actually. They're usually not that large. So I haven't tried this. I would not fault anyone for trying this, but usually rocket planes underperform. This is too light. This is not enough bomb loadout. It's not going to kill what you need to kill, although it is extremely fast and it does have medium resilience. I mean, it is a fighter. It's just a straight up fighter with 2 little bombs. So, I mean, it's an option. But it's 140 points. It's a lot. If it dies, you're losing out on a lot of value. So, great airplane. Great airplane tab. So, yeah, 43rd Reserve Army. I think Maverick is the build for this deck. It does not have the infantry depth to go into balanced, in my opinion. It really just doesn't have enough troops. Like, it does not have the volume of infantry you really need for a balanced deck, in my opinion. So I really think Maverick is the way to build this deck and the best way to play it. So hope you enjoyed this. Hit that like button, subscribe, and have a fantastic day.